is over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to recruit you, and our running back coach didn't take the test. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9 and 1230 a.m. WTBC. Your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9. This is the Martin Houston Show. We're live, local, and ready to get things rolling. I want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904. 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. It's open for business. You can also join us. We're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can join us at Martin Houston 35 fan page and get in on the conversation. Always add your thoughts, your comments, your suggestions, your responses, and we'll work them into the conversation. So we're glad that you've chosen to be with us this morning. As we move right along, one of the topics that I had planned for today was who's the lead candidate for the job. And if you've been paying attention, you know that we have a new OC, or maybe two OCs. I'll kind of give you my thoughts there in terms of what's going on, in terms of what I think. Part of my prediction appears to be true. So we'll see if the other part manifests itself. Still have questions now of who will be the tight end coach and who will be the offensive line coach. Still big questions there, which the O-line coach was my bigger concern of the two anyway. So we'll watch and see what ultimately happens with that. So you can stay tuned right here and find out more, but we'll also have a few more other conversations, kind of fun conversations, as baseball is about to get underway next week. and Coach Vaughn unveiling a new tradition, which I like. And we'll talk about what that is. Of course, if you follow my Facebook page, you're actually able to see the video. I have another one I'm going to pop up of the unveiling of the Alabama uh, new uniforms for the basketball team, which made me think, is Alabama ready for the white helmet in football? So I posted a picture that I was able to get from Trailblazers that showed Devontae Smith in a white helmet, white uniform. Love to know what your thoughts are. You like it, love it, hate it, don't want to see it. So we can talk about that, and then we'll end the day with some conversation with Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries with the Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice, be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir? Mm-hmm.
This every morning when we hear the intro, we hear
Hold on.
Coach Stallings talk about you and what he thought about you as a player. And then we hear from Coach Dye, who, of course, was Auburn's head coach during your playing days. How does that make you feel when he goes, I wish we had recruited you?
Well, it's not that it's not that they didn't recruit me. They just tried to get me to sign after having recruited me um, from a freshman all the way. Um, they tried to recruit me from a freshman all the way through my senior year, and then did not offer me. Um, And so when I look at it, it didn't really bother me because I ended up leaning a lot more toward Alabama and was going to Alabama or North Carolina State. So it didn't really bother me. He and I laughed and joked about it. And one of the things that he said offline uh, is that Bud Casey, who was the running back coach at that time, liked a guy named Teapot Brown because he didn't think I was fast enough. He thought I was a step too slow. And Coach Dye said, I told him, but he can block. so, and he can run it tough. But anyway, it's an honor to have a coach like Coach Dye come back and say something like that. And he, like I said, he and I had a relationship uh, after my playing days because I had a couple teammates that went there, and then we did some work together afterwards, where we did some charity work together. So we had a good relationship, and he was probably the most like Coach Bryant of all Coach Bryant's coaches. He just ended up going to the other school. So yeah. Um, as far as you looking at it, we got our new OC, Jed Cohen, saying, I'm glad to see the next OC is an in-house hire. Curtis Moore II said we got a new OC, and I'm happy with the hire, kept it in-house. Now we need to get a quality O-line coach. Greg Free knows the DeBoer system, or Matt Luke, throwing out a couple names. Um, so what are your thoughts on the Sheridan hiring? Yeah, and I've said that that you have the issue with uh, potentially losing these two guys if you don't promote Nick Sheridan. Um, so I'm getting some messaging that we're getting some messages that we're not hearing on both sides. So we're going to get the breaks here. We can get this technical issue fixed. We'll be back on the other side. You listen to the Martin Houston Show. I'll address my thoughts on Sheridan being promoted. What else do I think needs to happen or may happen or expected to happen with the Alabama coaching job and who will be replaced? We'll be back in just a moment.
I've got great news. 2024 Tucson's was 0% financing. Yes, I said it. New 2024 Tucson's was 0% financing. You can buy today at Tuscaloosa Hyundai. New 2024 Tucson's was 0% financing. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyland and Hargrove, TuscaloosaHyundai.com.
Get America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty and owner assurance. Available on select new 2024 Hyundai Tucson models. 0% APR based on 36 monthly payments of $27.78 per $1,000 finance, regardless of down payment amount, with approved credit through HMF. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for full details. Expires 2/29/24.
COVID-19? I don't want to risk missing work. I booked an appointment for this season's updated COVID-19 shot designed to help protect against recent variants. Learn about a vaccine option and book your COVID-19 shot on schedulecovidvax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Your best bet for big wins is just minutes away at Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where you can be a winner too. Off I-459, exit 31 Derby Parkway.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather stays dry today with a sunny sky, the high 64. Clear tonight, the low 39. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high at 67. Friday, increasingly cloudy. We'll have a chance of rain by Friday night, the high at 66. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 40 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and his Xavier on Tide 100.9. It's a hump day edition of the program. We are highlighting on the Facebook page. We're highlighting Calvin Culliver and Wendall Hudson. Wendall Hudson was the first Black athlete to sign a scholarship under to play any sport at the University of Alabama, and he went on to, of course, play basketball here, and then, of course, was eventually the women's coach, and has been associated with the program for quite a while. And so C.M. Newton, the coach at that time, broke a barrier that helped to lead ways to other opportunities. And then you may be saying, well, who's Calvin Culliver? This is probably more of a selfish post than anything. Calvin Culliver is one of the first black athletes. He was in one of Coach Bryant's earlier classes and was a freshman in 1974 and was able to be a part of some great Bama players to come through. And he played fullback, X. So it was in that wishbone offense. So, that would have been one of the offenses that I would have absolutely loved. But he was, as a freshman, it was said in a Sports Illustrated article that he was one of Coach Bryant's. He was the best running back that year. They went 11-1 in 1974 class. So, so he gets the highlight because he was a Trailblazer. He was one of the first that directly links back to the position I played at Alabama. So thank you to Calvin Culliver, fullback on one of Coach Bryant's teams. And it's been rumored that some people have said that he was one of his favorite players, but he was definitely one of the players on one of Bryant's. So words out of Bryant's mouth, one of his favorite teams that he really liked. And then, of course, Wendall Hudson, first black scholarship athlete at any sport at the University of Alabama. Those are our black Trailblazers at the University of Alabama Athletics. So go out to my page. You can check out those guys at Martin Houston 35 fan page. Thanks for the support. Thanks for supporting them. Share some highlights and thoughts about those guys. X, when you look at this hire, we had kind of said that Sheridan, based on what we had seen, Sheridan had spent some time with him in terms of Indiana. He was the quarterback coach at Indiana, and then what's his name went out to Fresno State. DeVore went to Fresno State, and of course, Sheridan got promoted at Indiana. And I've heard some people attack and say, well, Indiana's offense was ranked at this position. Well, he's not coaching at Indiana. He doesn't have the same athletes nor quarterbacks, or offensive line, etc. He has more skill here. Talking about Sheridan, but Sheridan went to Washington at the same time Penix went to Washington. Grubbs was the coordinator, and don't get me wrong. Would it be great to have Grubbs and Sheridan on the same staff? Yes, because you have more good coaches on the staff. You have more input, more perspective, etc. But it being a major loss, not so much. So not discounting Grubb, but just saying, hey, I think he has the capable guy. My other thought, though, X, is I think they have to also put a code on Shepard. Just from knowing these guys and hearing and watching, Grubb wasn't the only one with offers on this staff. Okay, he wasn't the only one. These guys were offered other jobs, and they chose to stay in or come to Alabama. But I think next year, if we have a successful season, it's just going to ramp that up. So I think Shepard gets a co-coordinator. I think the play call will be Sheridan, but I think that as far as coordinating offense, a bump up, I think you're going to have a co-coordinator situation. And I posted that yesterday.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the co-coordinator situation is the best situation. It gives credit to both, and I do think Sheridan is the play caller, but I think Shepard is going to have a huge, huge part in the passing game from what we've seen with what he's done with the wide receivers that he's had in the past, and I think he'll be able to do the same thing with the guys here at Alabama. So just, it's showing love kind of how he's done with the defensive side of the ball when you have Womack, coming as the most likely the play caller, and then the same as the linguist with the defensive backs, but also a co-coordinator as well, that they'll be working on the game plans together.
Absolutely. So yeah, we'll watch that. The question now, like I said, becomes who's the tight end coach, who's the offensive line coach. I want to throw out that I've heard, and so I did not call them. I said it made me wonder about character, so I stopped short of questioning character, because my thing was I hate that he came out and said I'm your OC, but I wasn't really as concerned about that statement if there were certain things done behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like, did he say that in order to keep the recruits here? And I found out from a couple different sources that he actually, that when they were recruiting the likes of Ryan Williams, they told him that Grubb may not be here, that he has options. They were straight up on point with him and said, this is my offense. DeBoer told him, this is my offense. Now, Grubb is good, and he will, if he's here, he will be great. But, you know, it's the situation is that they told them. So they didn't lie to the recruits, but he did tell the Red Elephant Club. So I felt so much, that made me feel so much better. And I wasn't upset with him saying that because, you know, that's what Saban did, X. Saban told the Dolphins he wasn't coming to Alabama. He told us he wasn't coming to Alabama. But he was.
Right.
You know, and I can remember when I was getting ready to run for mayor, and I had kind of made the decision in myself, but I had not fully formulated it. Somebody asked me if I was running for mayor. I said, not unless the Lord tells me for sure. But I felt like I was, but I had to make the final decision. And had someone asked me probably between the time your mom and I made the decision and before I made the announcement, I still wouldn't have been able to say yes. So I get that side of it, but I wouldn't have lied to people and did something different. That's my only thing, and it made me feel so much better that they did not lie to the recruits. So,
right,
speaks so much to the character that they were straight up honest with them. Jed Cohen saying when he was listening to Ryan Williams, I never heard him say Grubbs' name publicly. It was always DeBoer's name. So that ended up being the case. Got a caller here. J-Rob wants to talk. Here, J-Rob, you're in with Martin and Xavier. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Roll Tide, Martin and Xavier.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Hey, I'm an older guy, and you would think you're going to be surprised with what I've got to say. But I love Alabama's uniform. I think it's iconic. I think when you see it, you know who's on the field. There's no mistake about it. But as older I've gotten, I've learned that you can't be resistant to change. You can't be afraid, especially this last month or so. You can't be afraid of change. So I don't think it would be bad every once in a while to put a white helmet on a special occasion, or take the numbers off and put a script A on there, or the old Alabama logo with the elephant coming through the A. And and also I think the new guys, the new generation of players, they like this kind of stuff, having something new and hip every once in a while. So that's what I feel about the uniforms now. I'm not going to be so opposed to a little change every once in a while, but not a blackout or a whiteout like some of these other people are doing. Let's don't be a copycat. So.
Well,
Hey, we've worn the white helmets before, so
Yeah, we have. We have when who
Did
was the
Coach
coach
Bryant?
then?
The last time we wore it, I think, was Perkins. But did Coach Bryant not?
Perkins. Yeah.
Did Coach Bryant not ever
Coach
Yeah.
wear the white
Bryant,
helmet?
yep, he was the one that started it.
That's what I'm saying. Is
So
like what do people think makes tradition? What makes tradition, Joe? J. Rob? What makes tradition?
I think doing the same thing over and over again the same way. I think that's tradition in my mind.
But somebody has to start it.
So
Yes.
yeah. I mean, I have zero issue one way or the other per se, but believe it, hate it or not, it matters to the kids. And let me tell you
I think
why.
you're right.
Let me tell you why. At Northridge, we had, when I was coaching there, I think we may have had 20 plus combinations of uniforms. We had gray and blue and black and light blue. And you could put different tops and different pants and different socks and all of that. And the kids, part of what they got hyped about was which uni were they going to wear on Friday. So if high school coaches go back and watch Ron Williams and how many different uniforms he wore in high school, guys' uniforms is great. You know, some of the people who are anti-uni at one point, didn't Alabama used to not have their names on the back of their jerseys?
No,
Yep.
it did not.
Okay, so somebody broke tradition then, and it seems to work out just fine. I like looking out and seeing who's on what number and all that, especially since these
Me
jokers
too.
wear the same number.
One on each side of the line. Yeah.
That's right.
On the coaching staff changes, I think it's just a seamless transition. You got me ready for it before it even happened. I think the real big loss in this is the offensive line coach. I'll get off and listen to y'all's answers. Y'all be good.
Thanks,
Roll
J-Rob. Roll Tide. I agree, J-Rob. I think the big answer, the big weight is who he goes after. I know he has, 4 or 5 names that he wants to hit, maybe 3 or 4 when he really gets down to it, of guys that he'd like to bring in. I had said Will Friend was at Auburn when I was talking to someone. We said Will Friend, but Will Friend had left Auburn because of Hudson losing his job and went to Mississippi State, and that coach lost his job, and I think he's now at Western Kentucky, somewhere like that. So I know he would be a guy that would jump on it real quick, but X, we'll get Pat on the other side. X, real quick. I mean, to me, I like the look. I'm gonna tell you, as a player, I love playing in the road white versus the crimson over the white. As far as a player, I loved man, when we played in the SEC championship game, man, if we could have put a white helmet on with those white leggings with the crimson number on our leggings that we had, because it was extremely cold. With the white sleeves and had a white helmet, man, what you talking about? Fans, y'all just
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see a white helmet at Bryant-Denny. I do not want to see a white helmet at Bryant-Denny. The crimson helmet with the crimson tie and the white pants, that is a classic look. No doubt. Do not want to touch that. But, man, that white helmet on those road whites, I think that just would look amazing.
Yeah. And listen, I'm not opposed to, like I said, I'm not opposed to it. And fans, whether you like it, love it, or hate it, let me tell you something. I was known as the lotion guy. Now, some people don't understand what that means. Now, I wasn't the only guy, but because I was one of the married players, my wife always made sure a brother had lotion in his bag. So that when I ran out on the field, if I had calves exposed or arms exposed, that they were not ashy and crusty. So you would be amazed at how much time we spent prepping, getting ourselves ready to look good on the football field, which really has nothing to do with it, right? Except it does mentally. And so whether you like it, love it, or hate it, guys, the way a player looks can help how he feels. Now, it ain't going to make him play any better just because, but if it makes him feel a certain way, then it could have a benefit. Now,
Deion Sanders had that famous saying.
Huh?
Deion Sanders had that saying, feel good, look good, feel good, play good. Look good, feel good, play good, paid good.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I can relate to that as a former player. And I just don't think it's that big a deal, especially at this time. I don't like having all of the different uniforms and things like that where you don't know which team you're watching week in and week out. But I'm okay with something. And Jed Cohen said, let the players design a uniform for a game this year on the field. The basketball players were excited with the new uniform. We'll see what Alabama, and that's what started this whole conversation. We didn't even talk about it in this segment. But Alabama unveiled their new uniforms with the old script 8. So it's really back to the future. This isn't a new uniform. It's an old version of a uniform with a new look to it, with the Alabama A, varsity A with the elephant stepping through. I think I'm going to use that in some NIL stuff. What you think? Let me see if I can figure that out. But anyway, we'll be back on the other side. Real quick, X, I do want to talk about Vaughn and what he's rolling out in baseball. And then, of course, if anyone else has anything about the basketball unis, you're welcome to bring that to the conversation. We have a new OC at Alabama. Will we have a co-OC announced today or later on this week? If we do, we'll talk about it here. We got a couple callers that's waiting. We'll get you in on the other side.
Hello, Alabama sports fans. Did you know that it's illegal to place a sports bet on the big game in our state? Right now, you can place a legal wager in 38 states, including Tennessee, Florida, and Mississippi. But Alabama fans are missing out. Only you can help make a change. Call your legislator now and tell them you want the right to vote to allow sports betting in Alabama. Contact your legislator today by visiting sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
The ultimate sports betting app is now available in Alabama. BetU. BetU is the only legal sports betting app in Alabama where friends can bet real money on games directly against each other rather than against a typical sportsbook or bookie. BetU allows you to bet on spreads and money lines for NFL, college football and basketball, NBA, NHL, and MLB. All you need is a driver's license and bank account. Download BetU for iOS on the App Store today. Learn more about BetU by visiting their website, betu.us. That's bet.u.us.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 800 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 800. LumeDeodorant.com, code 800 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. Love it or return it for free. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code 800.
COVID-19? I don't want to risk missing work. I booked an appointment for this season's updated COVID-19 shot designed to help protect against recent variants. Learn about a vaccine option and book your COVID-19 shot on schedulecovidvax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
Keep it locked. into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Don't forget about Alabama One. Go to alabama1.org, alabama1.org. Get entered into our Deposit to Win contest. A couple of different ways to do that. One is by opening a qualifying checking account with new funds, including Little One, teens, and club accounts. Also, all of our other deposit accounts. And then set up one of our qualifying actions, whether it's direct deposit, enroll in e-statements, online banking, money market CDs, credit cards, mortgage loans, etc. Or you could just bring your tax return and deposit it into your account and kickstart your tax returns. Save smarter because you can also get entered into that Deposit to Win. And what will you win? Monthly prize giveaway, $250 value. It can be beat by Dre headphones, 50-inch smart TV, or $250 gift card. And the grand prize will be given away right in the smack in the middle of March Madness on the 31st of March. Is either a MacBook Air, set of tires, $1,000 gift card, but a gift of $1,000 value. So go to alabama1.org and deposit to win, whether it's a $25 and up deposit or your tax return. Kickstart it today. All right, X. Did you? What were your thoughts on the basketball uniforms?
Man, those things are clean. I like the throwback look of it. It's simplistic but classic.
I love the players' reactions. I don't think that. I mean, it was scripted in the sense of they said, "Hey, do this," but I don't think their reactions were scripted. I think they were legitimately excited about the unis and can't wait to roll that out. And hopefully it helps us play a better game against Texas A&M, which we'll talk about as we get closer to that game. Alabama not having a midweek game, but Auburn pulling for the who you pulling for tonight? South Carolina? Who pulling for the Gamecocks? That'll give a separation to Alabama. South Carolina and Alabama will be sitting up at the top. And we'll see where that ultimately ends up if they're able to go in. But Auburn's 12-0 at home. That'll be a tough one. Real quick on the baseball thing, have you seen the new thing that Vaughn is doing, his new tradition?
I've heard about it, but I hadn't seen what it actually is.
Yeah, they have a number 3. A certain player gets to wear number 3, and it stands for toughness, ownership, and grit. Toughness, ownership, and grit. So a player is picked to wear that number throughout the year. Evan Slight, a grad transfer, is the guy who's been deemed as that guy this year. And so I like that. They said that, that's the 3 pillars of his characteristics of the team he wants to coach. He wants them to be tough-minded, have a toughness about them. He wants them to take ownership in their actions, their behaviors, their team. And then he wants them to play with grit. And he wants every player to have that, but he has to pick one guy. Evan Slight wore number 6 in the, practice scrimmage fall season, but he'll be wearing number 3 as a representative of I don't even know if he has a name for what he calls it, but I thought that's a pretty neat thing. Nate Oat has his hard hat. Will DeBoer have something? We know that Womack has Swarm D. Will DeBoer or Sheridan have something that they kind of stick their hats on or hang their hats on? So we'll be watching for that as well. Pat, you're in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind?
Martin, good morning. Penn State would never change their jersey. or their white hat. But it wasn't that. Neither. Hey,
maybe they need to.
Hey, when was the last
They
time
threw names on their jerseys. They threw names on their jerseys about 10 years ago.
Well, that's true. But my next question is, when was the last time Alabama had numbers on the sleeves of the jersey? Was that about 65, about the time Namath played?
I don't even remember that. So I don't know.
There hadn't been numbers on the Alabama sleeve in years.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just was curious about that. Hey, Morton, I agree with you on 100% on why those two offensive coordinators should have been probably given the deal. But I'm also in the same frame of mind as Greg McElroy. I'm in a wait and see attitude now.
But
let's give them a chance and see what happens.
You should.
But with this group of athletes, if they can't win 10 games, 11 games, and get us into the playoff, then it's a failure. I mean, I'm a thorough believer in that.
Yeah, I agree. This team is definitely talented enough. Ryan Grubb was here. We don't know how well things are going to mesh and gel together with a completely new coaching staff. This is the first time we've had this in 18 years where it's no longer, we're replacing an OC, we're replacing a DC, we're replacing a running backs coach, a wide receivers coach, but the mainstay, the head of that snake is still the same. This time, this is a completely new snake, and so it's going to take time. And I think with the way the season plays out, we'll know early, but where this team stands, but still have a chance to win it later on in the season, as we kind of have done multiple times through Coach Saban's time.
And everybody, Pat, why do you think Grubb is better than Sheridan? Because he was the guy before? What if I told you DeBoer was grooming Sheridan before there was a Grubb?
Yeah, but I'm giving it to him because that's who Coach Saban wanted.
I'm talking about the. You should have been in a wait and see before Grubb left, because it's the first time it's gone. My point though is this, and I can't remember who pointed it out, maybe Janet Cohen, but against Penn State, against Michigan, and against Ohio State, Indiana averaged right at 40 points a game when Sheridan was the offensive coordinator. I'm going to say this again, Pat. This is DeBoer's offense. And he will have a huge influx and input into it. But this isn't a new guy. This isn't like what's his name? What was our defense coordinator name? Pete Golding. This isn't a guy who Saban brought in to train Pat, and then all of a sudden had to elevate him to defensive coordinator. Nick Sheridan has been being groomed by DeBoer all the way back to his Indiana days, which was 5 years ago. So he knows the system. The Shepherd guy is also a guy who's been in this system for several years. So I think that we're going to be fine. I'm not worried. I think it all comes down to, can we protect? I have some other insight. I don't have time to get to it, but thanks, Pat. We got to get to Philip. Then we'll get to Scotty Hollins. Philip, you're in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
I just want to talk about, hey guys, just want to talk about the uniforms for a minute. The white helmets are something that have been near and dear to my heart for a long time. And on September the 10th, 1971, I dare say that one of Alabama's 5 most historic wins took place on a Friday night in Los Angeles, California against USC. And that was the night that the Wishbone was unveiled, and Alabama beat Southern Cal 17-10. Alabama was decked out in white from head to toe. Yeah. And the white helmets are part of Alabama's history. I don't know why our fans are so hard-headed about that. And back in the 70s, when the Wishbone was unveiled, Alabama was 54-6 from 1971 to 1975.
Yeah.
And they wore the white helmets at least 3 times a year during that period. They did wear them at Dillon Stadium. They wore them against Mississippi State. They wore them against Houston. And I think they wore them against, it might have been Mississippi State twice. I was at those games. I was a teenager, young guy. And the white helmets are actually they were called Pearl, Pearl. Mm-hmm. And they look really good, and it's a good look. It's part of Alabama's history, and I wish Coach DeBoer would think about bringing it back. Saban thought it hurt the brand. I believe he thought it was sort of like messing with the New York Yankees gear, but that really wasn't the case. And I just believe that it would be something that the players would enjoy, and I think a lot of the fans would enjoy it. It would look good. And with today's uniform technology and what they can do with the helmets, I think it would look outstanding.
Yeah. We got thanks, Philip. That's great insight and more knowledge than I even had about the level of it. We have to get the break here. Coming back on the other side, we'll have Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries, a part of the program. We appreciate all the callers and viewers and chats being part of the show, but we'll be skipping to we'll be changing over. Great Christian Moment of the Week presented by Harvest Church. That conversation up next.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. If you're moving along Highway 69, seeing a 2-minute slowdown between 15th and Highway 56. No trouble along I-20, I-59, or 359. You do have a morning accident, McFarland Boulevard eastbound at Fayette Highway. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Joshua Day.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Valentine's Day and Ash Wednesday morning. The rare occurrence of the two holidays falling together, the beginning of sacrifice leading to Easter and also Valentine's Day. Tuscaloosa City Council has voted to revoke the business license of the CRU Hookah Lounge, where a security officer beat and fatally shot a patron to death last month. The lounge opened on 69 South last summer. Only 4 of the 7 council members were present for the vote. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Weekday mornings at 6 a.m. The Martin Houston Show.
Join the Martin Houston Show powered by MaX Sports for a Thursday edition of the program. We'll have a little true false. We'll look at some roster management, the board, and how he's going to complete his staff. And then we'll also turn our attention to spring practice as we look at what Alabama faces in the upcoming jump toward A-Day. We'll have those conversations and more right here on the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaX Sports on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTVC.
Catch the Martin Houston Show from 6 to 7 weekday mornings on Tide 100.9.
Townsend Nissan is your #1 dealer, and they'll beat any written offer or pay you $1,000. Keeping you #1 keeps Townsend Nissan #1. See dealer for details. We've all felt the impact of rising food prices. For families in poverty, they're facing malnutrition and even death. You can feed a family for a month with your $50 donation to Compassion International. Just text the word radio to 97646.
Hey, Jen, I just stopped in to say hello. Oh my gosh, look how busy it is in here. How did you get all these customers?
Yeah, this month has been a record breaker for us. For a long time, we had decent business coming in from word of mouth, but we weren't really growing. Lately, though, a lot of new folks have been finding us online, and that's made all the difference.
That's terrific. I wish I could figure out how to do that for my shop, but I have no idea where to start.
Just do what I did. It's not as hard as you think. Go to mylocalcustomers.com to see exactly how many searches there are here for businesses like yours.
Okay, then what?
If you see that there are a good number of clients searching in our area, you'll also get some suggestions for the best way to get their attention.
Do you think there are a lot of people searching for my business?
There's only one way to find out. Go to mylocalcustomers.com. It's quick, easy, and free.
Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free local customer analysis that will show you how many Tuscaloosa customers are searching online for your type of business. It's quick, easy, and free. Visit mylocalcustomers.com. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through March 4th, get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic and an oil filter for $36.99, only at AutoZone.
Claim based on Sequence 3 H-Test versus API SP test limits.
Your best bet for big wins is just minutes away at Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where you can be a winner too. Off I-459, exit 31 Derby Parkway.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaX Sports. It's now time for the Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week. I want to remind you that we have our midweek service tonight, 6 o'clock dinner, free meal, donations accepted. Then we have our encounter service tonight. Normally it's on the first Wednesday, but we have a young man who's been a missionary in the outer regions of Mexico, serving the indigenous people, that would be ministering, sharing his testimony and his story and his life. Brendan Watson will be there. So come out and be a part of that with us. I mean, it'll challenge you and encourage you in your faith. And that's exactly what Scotty Hollins does every Wednesday. So, Scotty, I'll toss it to you. It's a little short on time. I apologize for that, but to encourage us how we can incorporate our faith into the boardroom, classroom, or our chosen field of faith.
Thank you, Martin. Hey, I'm going to go this week. We're going to do just a 1 week series. We've been focused on the building blocks necessary for building something special. So we're going to continue that series next week. I have something. What's today? Today's Valentine's, huh? Oh. And so I thought, why not? Did you think about that? I might have just saved you.
Yeah, I told my love happy Valentine's Day, and I love her before I came on the air.
There you go. Okay. All right. Well, you good. So, hey, and so I wanted to give us a verse that could help us. And since everybody's going to be thinking about and talking about love today, and who is their Valentine's, I thought, why not give a passage of scripture that would give us a picture of what the Bible says love is, and not just what love is, but the greatest expression of love. John 15:13 says, and this is Jesus speaking, he says, greater love has no one than this, that you would lay down your life for your friend. Martin, he's telling us, here's the greatest expression of love. And he's saying the greatest expression of love is laying down your life for your friend. So Martin, if you lay down your life for your friend, what happened to you? It sounds to me like you died, right?
It could sound like it, but...
That's what it sounds like. And so he's saying this is the greatest expression of love. So we should take notes here. He says it's laying down your life for your friend. So if you lay down your life for your friend, that sounds to me like you died. And so then what happened to your friend? Your friend sounds to me like they lived. And as you think about this example, that helps us come up with a definition for the greatest expression of love, as we try to extract something from this example that Jesus gives in his final week on earth, Passion Week, here's what we can come away with. If greatest expression of love, if the greatest expression of love is laying down your life for your friend, then ultimately the greatest expression of love is doing what's best for the person you're loving, no matter what it costs you. Now, here's what I'll say, because I know we're short on time. Jesus was telling them, here's the greatest expression of love, and he wouldn't just leave them with a verbal explanation. He was about to illustrate it. He was about to show them the greatest expression of love, and not just them, Martin, but us, the greatest expression of love by dying on the cross for our sins. And guess what? We are his friends. And he says, look, the greatest expression of love is I'm going to do what you need most. What do you need most? You need a savior. And guess what? What is it going to cost him? It cost him his life. And so let me tell you this. On this Valentine's Day, if you don't have a Valentine's, I just told you that you do. Jesus is your Valentine. And if you haven't made a decision to if you don't understand what he's done, I would say this is the most important and the most valuable illustration of love that you could ever experience or see is the gospel. It's Jesus dying on the cross for the sins of all mankind. And John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, so that whosoever will believe will not perish but have everlasting life." And so, I just want to encourage you guys with that. Martin, I know I want to leave a second for you to kind of tie things up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. I always tell people the Bible says when God so loved, it follows up with that he gave. Just think, he so loved that he gave. So, when you hear that later in your life, you're like, man, I'm not ready to die. It may not, we're not required to make a physical death like Jesus was, but we're called to make a sacrifice like he did to show our love for one another. And so we've been talking about this at our place of work. One of the things you need to do is learn how to find great joy in the success of others. And great leaders have what they call the fellowship ability, which is the ability to lead others by allowing them to be successful or helping them be successful. And then if you want to spiritualize that concept, I always think about what's one of the greatest things in the world, Scotty? And to me, it's to have joy, true joy. It's not happiness, because happiness is based on what happens. But true joy is the feeling of that you get with happiness, but it's always covered with peace. And that's Jesus first, others, and yourself. Joy. If you can live that way, man, live that way today. Find somebody today that may not have a Valentine and be Jesus with skin onto them until they can meet our real Jesus. Tell them where they can find you, sir.
Absolutely. You can go to www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com and you can send me a message there. Come straight to my email.
Yes, sir. And hey, Scotty, I told you, man, when we finish this other series, I want you to be thinking about, I want us to let our listening audience know how they can support what you do, man, because you're knocking it out of the park, and we want to make sure we help you continue to do that. Hey,
thank you so much, Martin.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for what you do for me each and every week and for our listening audience. That's Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministry. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll keep the conversation going. We'll have a little true false. We'll have some roster management, DeBoer in spring practice. And also, I guess I need to keep the conversation around the uniforms going. We'll be back. Houndstooth end zones. What you think? We'll talk about it right here on the Martin Houston Show. Trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he'll direct your path. Roll Tide. That's everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9